What's up? Happy Sunday, everybody. My name's Tim Williams. We're going to break down today's early MLB DraftKings slate. We got 12 games to get through here. If you're new to the channel, my name's Tim. Welcome. We've been breaking down these MLB slates daily. Definitely been an interesting season so far, and let's just jump right into it. We'll talk a little bit about weather and stuff as we get to it, but first game we have is the A's and the Orioles. A's favorited on the road, 8 over under. The wind's blowing in slightly. Luzardo going against Means. No interest in Means really here, but Luz is actually kind of intriguing at that price, 7-7. A's are 6th in home runs, 12th in on base percentage. Those two numbers kind of stick out to me. I actually really like them, even though the wind is blowing in slightly. Laureano at 4.7, Canha at 4.1, might be hitting at the top of the order. Olsen 4.7. These guys had huge games. Lately they've been on fire. Chapman at 4.6, Lowry at 4.5. He's really hard to ignore. Murphy behind the plate at 4.6. Kind of interested in all of those guys. And then on the other side in Baltimore, not really interested in anybody. I guess Mancini just because of the splits matchup at 4.7K. Other than that, the O's kind of strike out too much. And then just not interested. Next, we have the Nationals taking on the Mets. Mets favorited here at home, 7.5 over under. It's raining. The wind's coming in. It's not a great ballpark to hit in, so I don't have a lot of interest in any of the hitters today. The pitching is actually quite nice. Corbin, 7.4K. I definitely have some interest there. He's just been all over the place. He pitched a great game last time out. He was horrible the time before. So he's definitely risky, but definitely in play. And then Walker, he's been pitching well when he's putting on that Mets uniform. 7.5K, I think is very reasonable. Both teams can hit for average. They both can get on base. The power's not there. This is not a place to hit home runs. There's no reason to really pick any hitter in this one. I will say Conforto 4.1K. His price has gone up a little bit, but he is 9 for 25 with 5 home runs against Corbin. So take that for what it's worth. Next, you have the Mariners and the Red Sox, 9 over under. It is going to rain. The weather's actually going to be pretty crappy in Baltimore, so I don't know if they're going to play a full game or there's going to be a delay. So there is some risk there, but the over-under total is very nice. You got Marjavicius at 5.8 going against one of the best offenses in baseball, so no thanks there. And then Rodriguez is definitely in play at 8.2K. You have the Mariners who strike out quite a bit. They're 6th overall in the majors. Mariners blew up yesterday as far as the bats. So there is some interest there. Haniger at 4K, Seager at 4.4K, loves hitting at Fenway, France at 3.7, and then it kind of stops there for me. And then on the Red Sox, Martinez in play for sure, 5.7K, Bogarts 5.8. They're definitely pricey, but I think the ownership might be a little bit lower today because it is a bigger slate. And then what they did yesterday, which was pretty much nothing. So there's definitely interest there. And then Renfroe for a cheap power bat, 3.3K is pretty good against lefties. Next, we have the Blue Jays and the Rays. I will say the Blue Jays are probably one of my favorite teams on this slate. You got Ryu going against Fleming and Patino. I don't like teams who throw out 2 pitchers to start. So I have no interest there. Ryu, it's intriguing. 9K is kind of pricey, but the Rays are 3rd in strikeouts. So there's definitely some interest there, but probably just a little bit too expensive. Hitters for the Blue Jays, Guerrero at 5.4, Bichette 5.5, and then Biggio at 3.3K. Really cheap, really good value there. Love all 3 in this spot. And then on the Rays side, they're all priced pretty low. So I'm kind of intrigued, I guess, if you're just trying to be contrarian. Ryu, I'm guessing, is going to pick up some ownership. So Meadows at 3.9, and then a Rosarina at 4.3, Diaz at 3K, Margot at 2.6K. If you just need some fillers or you want to get a Boston stack and you need some cheap guys in your lineup, really not a bad option. Next, we have the Yankees and the Indians. Yankees favorited on the road, 8 over under. Tyon at 8.3K, no thanks, too expensive. The worry about him is he's not going to go that far into the game. Maybe 5 innings. And then McKenzie at 8,500. Tough matchup, so not really interested there. On the Yankee side, if I'm going to pick anybody, I'm going to pay up, and it's going to be Judge at 5.5 or Stanton at 4.4. And then on the Indian side, they're just not a very good hitting team. As you can see, 30th in average, 28th in on-base percentage. Once in a while, they hit a home run, so I like Ramirez at 5.2K. Rosario, because he's a lefty facing a righty, at 4.1K. Next, you had the Royals and Tigers. Royals favored at 8 over under. Duffy taking on Fulmer. Fulmer 5.3K for a pitcher is so cheap. No interest there. And then Duffy at 8K. I actually have a lot of interest. I think he's actually going to be pretty popular on this slate. He's been pitching out of his mind. And for that reason, I just have no interest on the Tiger side as for their hitting. But on the Royal side, they're all kind of priced up. If I'm going to take somebody or a one-off, it's going to be Merrifield at 5.5K. He's 10 for 23 with 2 home runs against Fulmer. And then Perez at catcher at 5.6K. He's 6 for 19 with 3 home runs. So interested in those two guys. Next, we have the Diamondbacks and the Braves, 6.5 over under. This is going to be the first of a doubleheader, so I don't really have any interest here. The Braves are facing Zach Gallen. That would be the one interest I have. It would be Gallen at 8.6K. However, he does have a pretty tough matchup here. And then for the Diamondbacks, I know they're facing Wilson, and they have a lot of power in that lineup. But just the 7 innings it really gets me, so no interest. Rangers versus the White Sox, 7.5 over under here. White Sox favorited Arihara going against Kopech. A lot of people, DFS players, have been picking on Arihara. He's actually been okay. So kind of a tougher matchup for the White Sox. The White Sox are interesting because they can break out one day and then the next day they look like they're about to get no hit. So keep that in mind. I guess if I'm going to have any interest in the White Sox, I'm going to pay up for like Abreu at 5.7, Robert at 5K. White Sox are 4th in average, 3rd in on base percentage. They're not really hitting the ball out of the park. So I think once the weather starts warming up, these East Coast power bats will start to warm up as well. Rangers don't really have any interest in the hitting there. I will say Kopech at 6.9K is actually kind of interesting. The Rangers are 1st in strikeouts. However, the downside with Kopech is he's probably only going to go like 3 or 4 innings. His arm isn't really built up yet. Next, we have the Angels and Astros, 8.5 over under. Astros favorited here at home. You have Dylan Bundy taking on McCullers. No interest in either pitcher. I'll let other people take ownership in that. Bundy at 8.1K. I mean, these prices are reasonable, right? And then McCullers, there's upside for both pitchers for strikeouts. However, both of these offenses are just like juggernauts. So, Angels 2nd in average, 11th in on-base percentage, 2nd in home runs. If Trout's playing, there's definitely interest there at 6.1K. Ohtani 5K facing at McCullers, and then Upton 3.2K. That's kind of where it stops. I'm not really interested in Walsh today. And then on the Astros side, I kind of love everybody. Alvarez at 4.8K, so cheap for what he can do. He had a huge game yesterday. Bregman 5K, Tucker 4K. Brantley, I would pay up for that, 5.1K. Gurriel's been hitting on fire, 4.5K. And then Diaz sticks out to me a little bit. He's going to hit like 7th or whatever in this lineup, but he's 4K. He's 6 for 14 with 3 home runs against Bundy. They're at home. I really like the Astros. Next, we have the Pirates and the Twins. In theory, it should be a juicy matchup for the Twins, 8.5 over under. There's definitely going to be some rain, some weather concerns. I don't know if they play this game. If they do, either way, I'm just not interested. Schumacher taking pitching against Crow here. Crow is a right-handed pitcher. I'd rather play Twins against left-handed pitching. And then for the Twins, just not really interested in this game. Next, we have the Reds and the Cardinals. Cardinals favorited 7 over under. Very concerning run total here. Castillo taking on Flaherty. Both really talented pitchers. Both have their issues. Castillo has not been having the greatest season so far. I'm just not interested in him or Flaherty for that matter. Flaherty can walk guys. The talent's there though. He's just facing the Reds, who are 5th in average, 4th in on base percentage, 1st in home runs. I'm just not interested there. I will say Suarez for the Reds, 5.3K, kind of pricey, but he is 5 for 15 with 3 home runs against Flaherty. And then on the Cardinals side, originally I didn't have any interest. I think the over-under just kind of scares me a little bit, but I will say Paul DeJong at 3.8K, Carpenter at 2.4K, and then Goldschmidt at 4.4. They all could be potentially in play. All 3 have home runs against Castillo. If I need a guy and I just need someone cheap and Carpenter's in the lineup, I know he kind of stinks, or if I need a first baseman and I happen to land on Goldschmidt, fine. Next and final game, Brewers taking on the Cubs. Brewers favored it here, 6.5 over under. That is really ugly. Woodruff at 9.4K would be the spend up on this slate. Not a bad matchup. You know, the Cubs, I will say, have been kind of on fire recently, but they are striking out at a high percentage. Brewers hitters in play, Wong at 3.2. He came off the IR, the injury list, and he's been hitting very well. Narvaez at 4.3K. He's really priced up. I don't think he'll be owned in this one, but Arrieta isn't very scary as a pitcher. Garcia 3.5K. If you can stomach rostering any of these Brewers players, I mean, these guys would be in play. And then on the Cubs side, the two I really love is Rizzo at 4.3, Bryant at 4.6. These prices are really low. Bryant's hitting out of his mind. However, the matchup is tough. The over-under is very low. So that's it. I definitely have interested in that Houston Angels game. Definitely interested in that Blue Jays game. Maybe some Rays for some value. Good spend up options, maybe on the Yankees here. But other than that, it's a big slate. So whittle down your options here. I hope this video helped you. Again, my name is Tim. We've been breaking down all these games mainly for these main slate contests on DraftKings. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.